You might remember back in July of this year that I told you all that I wanted to start linking my thoughts across all the different accounts that I run. Moving forward, I will do more to make sure this YouTube channel is the home of all of my thoughts and opinions, rather than leaving some of my conversations on Twitter and other social media accounts that not everybody has the chance to see. See, I did say that. Today is a great example. Yesterday, I posted a video about the 98 weapons, vehicles and gadgets that will be coming to Battlefield 5 at launch. Basically, I gave you a list of launch content. A lot of people thought that the title I used was a bit clickbaity, and on reflection, I can see how people might have misunderstood that, so in the future, I will be more careful. Thanks for letting me know. But the video didn't really dive into my thoughts all that much. It was just a showcase video. No real opinion was expressed. Last night on Twitter, I really did get into my opinion and thoughts on the topic, and I started talking to other people about this list, and I found my opinion was shared with a lot of other people in the community. That opinion was disappointment. The list of 98 different types of weaponry in itself was very varied. 24 different vehicles was a big surprise to me, and a welcome one, and that number doesn't take into account the 4 other vehicles included in the reinforcement category either, so really, it's 28 in total. We've got 16 different gadgets spread across the 4 classes, and that gives us 4 in each classes if it's balanced in that way. Not really quite sure on numbers yet. There was a lot of good to take from the announcement because we now have a clear picture at what type of game DICE will be delivering at launch. But I think the sticking point for most people was the announcement of 30 primary weapons and 7 secondary weapons. When comparing this back to previous Battlefield titles in the franchise at their launch, which is what we do every single time a new Battlefield game is announced, the numbers for Battlefield 5 do look significantly small. Take Battlefield 4 for example, which is right on the other end of the scale, I will admit. 64 primary weapons and 13 secondary weapons at launch, many more weapons added with each of the 5 DLCs released, and an additional 6 battle pickup weapons were available at launch. So, at the launch, 83 different infantry weapons were included. That's over double the number of weapons included at Battlefield 5's launch, which clearly doesn't make for very good reading. However, I'm personally not too bothered at the number of weapons included, it's the weapons not included that caught me by surprise more so. 30 primary weapons at launch is more than what Battlefield 1 came with, admittedly only by 1 weapon, when you count the tanker and pilot primary weapons. If you remove those, you're down to just 24 primary weapons for the 4 main infantry classes. So if you thought 30 was a small amount, imagine going back to 2016 and finding out Battlefield 1 only had 24 primary weapons. Battlefield 1 did ship with 18 sidearms though, 3 of each were locked into a class, and 6 of them were all kit weapons. So when you break it down, Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 do actually trade blows on quite a few different things. But as I said, it's not really the numbers that bother me here, it's the choices DICE went for, and the almost complete lack of surprise that I was met with when I read through the list. Of the 30 primary weapons coming with the game, 17 of them have already been revealed in gameplay tests like the closed alphas and the open beta. That remains with 13 weapons. 7 of those are weapons that we played with in Battlefield 1, and 2 further weapons, the MP28 and the MP34, are based off of the MP18, which was another World War I weapon that we had in Battlefield 1. That leaves just 4 brand new weapons in the list. That was underwhelming to read, to say the least. For sure, most of these weapons will be included in the progression system, so you'll need to start using the starter weapons and rank up each class to unlock the rest before you can use them. And that should mean you end up trying all of the different weapons and find out which ones suit your playstyle. But when 17 of them were already publicly available to use in the alphas and open beta, that removes just a lot of the pure excitement of unlocking these weapons in the final game and using them for the first time. At least it does for me. I mean, if I've used 17 of the 30 weapons already, I'm not going to get that excited feeling of unlocking that weapon because I've already used it. With the beauty of hindsight, looking back at the open beta, it might not have been such a great idea to have 3 or 4 primary weapons per infantry class, especially when the maximum number of weapons in one of the 4 classes launching with Battlefield 5 is 8. Assault showed us 4 weapons in the open beta. There are 4 more weapons included in the list yesterday. That doesn't really leave us with too much new for us to try when the game launches in November. It doesn't fill me with excitement knowing that what I used in the open beta, in terms of primary weapons, is actually not that far away from the full offering at launch of Battlefield 5, and that means I've already experienced over 50% of the variety that Battlefield 5 is going to offer. However, when you look at this exact point from a development perspective, having as many weapons as possible in the open beta likely helped the development team balance all of the weapons better than they had before. It kind of spoils players by giving them access to more content and then finding out there's not a huge amount more at the launch of the game, but it probably means that all of the weapons will play better, be balanced better, and you'll have better gunfights when the game launches. So you can kind of look at this scenario as both good and bad. I would lean more so towards the player side than the developer side, but that's simply because I am a player and not a developer, but overall you've got pros and cons to this entire scenario. And then, I think we also need to talk about the actual variety of weapons themselves included in that list. A lot of the weapons appear on the surface to operate very differently from one another. That should mean more engaging gunplay and different gameplay experiences, needing to learn how those weapons work best and then deploy them in the right situations. But when 7 of the weapons included at launch are weapons we've already been using in Battlefield 1 for nearly 2 years now, that doesn't set a great expectation of variety. Now rightly, David Serlin did point out to me on Twitter yesterday that the gunplay differences between Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 are so vast that the weapons, despite being the same ones you used in Battlefield 1, should feel very different here in Battlefield 5. But that doesn't shift my feeling that these are weapons we've spent 2 years already using, and the shift from a World War I based shooter to World War II, to me, should also signify a shift in overall weaponry. Previous Battlefield game shifts, like the shift from Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4 for example, did recycle a lot of weapons, but it's in that scenario that it's understandable because they share the same time period. They were both set in modern day combat. Here, we've moved from World War I to World War II, a jump of nearly 20 years in time and a huge leap in technical innovation as well. I expected to see more pure World War II weapons in general. And I just want to point out here, in terms of vehicles in Battlefield 5, things have changed quite a lot. That huge jump between World War I vehicles and World War II vehicles is very apparent in the offering from Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 5. So there, I think DICE has done a good job. I think adding some previously seen World War I weapons from Battlefield 1 into Battlefield 5 at some point after the launch, as an update within the Tides of War live service, that would have been really cool. But to see 7 weapons from Battlefield 1 take places in the primary weapon lineup at the launch of Battlefield 5, that for me is quite disappointing. So then, what can DICE do to fix this situation? Having spent last night reading through comments on Reddit and various threads on Twitter, it's clear that at least the people using those platforms, and who use them to actually communicate rather than just lurking, those people have similar concerns to the ones I've expressed in this video. What's it going to take to help settle the community back down again after another bump in this rocky road to launch for Battlefield 5? Well, I saw a lot of people expressing that if this is DICE's launch offering, this list that we have here, then they simply won't be buying the game until DICE can show evidence that they plan to support the game with a really rich, engaging live service through the Tides of War with lots of content. Lots of people were stating that if DICE really means business and really does want to keep the community happy and grow it after launch, the first couple of months of that live service are going to be extremely important. If those first couple of months show that DICE is going to be dropping new content consistently, then those people will be willing to jump in after launch. I saw a lot of other people stating as well that they will be buying the game at launch regardless, but they'll be disappointed if the first few months of the live service aren't rich with content, adding to what DICE shipped the game with. It seems the way to fix this scenario is that DICE delivers on their promise of a live service that is updated regularly with brand new content for players to use. There is a small caveat to this solution, however. Many people who are looking in on this Battlefield 5 scenario are hesitant to buy in and are downright angry that DICE are asking people to pay full price, a AAA title, $60, and expect then people to be happy with the answer that more content will come after launch, rather than being included in the launch product. Now, to those people, I say this. I totally see your point of view. Why would you want to part with $60 knowing the launch product is merely a section of the entire package, and that you're expected to wait a few months for more content to arrive? I mean, at the moment, we don't have a roadmap, so we don't even know it's months. It could be years, we just simply don't know at the moment. I totally understand your point of view. What we've got at the moment is an antiquated pricing structure that's associated with selling full, complete products, that $60 price point, and a game support system that implies the game will add more and more content post-launch, even previously stating that after features have been used to market the game for its launch, those things won't be included at the launch of the game. There really isn't a solution to this issue either, as DICE is focused on Battlefield 5 being a live service product, with free updates for its rumoured a 2-year life cycle after launch. But I do totally understand your concern. If you don't want to buy this game at launch, then I don't blame you. Now, I want to finish off this video by highlighting some comments from David Serland surrounding the reaction to last night's blog post. He's been replying to a lot of concerned fans on Twitter about the information released, and a few of his replies stood out to me and caught my eye. First, his response to my tweet highlighting a major concern from the community, the live service content. I reiterated that DICE needs to nail the live service for the game to succeed and excite players, and he wholeheartedly agreed. It wasn't some wishy-washy marketing-safe reply, it was straight talking from a lead developer on the game. And here I appreciate his honesty and the confidence that he has in this live service. Secondly, this response here to another of my own threads really stood out to me. David took a very direct approach to comments about the cadence of updates for the live service, how often they'd be coming, and when they'd drop. We'll continuously drop gameplay content through Tides of War. That's the point. First chapter is beefy. I don't know any game that gives details on the upcoming 2 seasons, so we won't be able to start here. Consider the first one the start, and we'll expand from there. I mean, it's in our interest to keep players playing, buying cosmetics, right? That's the income model now. That means we need an increasing player base, not decreasing. And that means we need to get more high quality content, and most importantly, gameplay to you constantly. I don't understand why you think we'd not over-deliver on your expectations with live service. It will make us more money, given our reputation. The key to me here is that we focus on gameplay, expanding it, improving existing, and making more quality additions, not filler. That is fighting talk. David seems completely convinced the live service for Battlefield 5 will be a success. Now, going to the very bottom reply, that addresses concerns about the live service. The player cites Battlefront 2 as evidence it won't be as good as he says it is. And David says, I understand that, but it's not the same in any way when it comes down to it. We are the sole owners of Battlefield. It's our core IP. We have to deliver this. Looking back at our Battlefield franchise, we absolutely over-delivered Battlefield 4, and that 3rd year is the closest to this. And lastly, I'd like to highlight this response from David. Again, replying to Matt, he says that there is a clear focus with the development team of quality over quantity. And despite the numbers being low on that list, especially for primary weapons, that the differing experiences in the weapons is there. That's what we have been doing. The results in the launch numbers, if numbers is the important thing, this, the game, doesn't hold up. I mean, we could make hundreds of weapons that are slight variations just to boost numbers. That's not this game. Now today, I'd love to get your opinions. I've tried to express the concerns of the community, my own concerns, and some of the responses from the dev team on how they plan to address this entire issue. So, give me your thoughts on the scenario down below in the comments section. I'll be there reading them all. Make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications switched on, that way you won't miss any important Battlefield 5 news and information. I'm always trying to keep you guys up to date. I understand information is absolutely everywhere when it comes to Battlefield 5, so I'm trying to bring it all into one place for you. And thank you very much for watching today. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.